In January of 2023, a leaked contract from Wizards of the Coast revealed that the corporation was planning to undercut the open gaming license that had supported and created a huge boom of beloved third-party content. The community responded by cancelling D&D Beyond subscriptions, by supporting new games, and by boycotting new D&D products, where they would never again be able to renegotiate those contracts even if they wanted to. This whole debacle was widely considered the biggest own goal in RPG history. In the span of a month, D&D went from being the role-playing game to being something of a pariah. 5th edition, which was beginning to show its age, quickly became the game we dunk on when we talk about other RPGs that appeal to us more directly. Now it's 3 years later and the landscape has shifted again, in one fairly obvious way, and in a way that few predicted. Welcome to Mystic Arts, where I remind everyone it was Gary Gygax who said that Dungeon Masters don't need any rules. My name is Daði, I'm a professional writer and director, and I've been DMing for 11 years. One of the first things that happened after that cold January where we were all collectively betrayed was that a slew of new systems were announced. Some large ones, like Critical Role's Daggerheart and MCDM's Draw Steel, came out of that announcement. They set off on making something very different. Other systems were 5e but my way, like Level Up Advanced 5e, Tales of the Valiant, DC 20, and systems like Shadowdark did a bit of both, with its 5e but it's actually OSR. Some, like Nimble, started out as a fork, but quickly became into their own, developing as a separate system while still maintaining 5e compatibility. And that's the beauty of this massive boom of systems. Many of them are perfectly compatible with one another. We, the players, get to play all of them, sequentially, first game 1, then game 2, then game 3, but also simultaneously, using systems from various different games all stitched together like some kind of Frankenstein's 5e.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
In this video, sponsored by Nimble, I want to introduce you to how monsters work in their game and how you can use them at your table, even if you're not playing Nimble. You could be playing 5e 2024, 2014, Tales of the Valiant, DC 20, or Level Up of 5e, and just stick a Nimble monster in there and see how it feels. Give it a go, because I think life is too short to strictly adhere to any one system. You'll have the most fun when you disregard what each system says and you start mixing and matching them at your table. So let me introduce you to Nimble. This is the core rules PDF and it's fairly small. It's only 55 pages. And that's because, unlike 5e, the emphasis here was creating a system that was lightweight as opposed to crunchy. There's also the Heroes book, which is a bit bigger, it's 83 pages, but that's nothing compared to the size of 5th edition's textbooks. Nimble does all kinds of things to keep it lightweight and fun. Like, there's 1 die for attack and damage rolls. You roll your weapon's damage die, and if you get a 1, it's a miss. Anything else, it hits and deals damage. On a max result, you crit, and the crit dice explode, so you can continue to roll max damage basically indefinitely. I think that's really clever because this means smaller weapons are likelier to miss, but likelier to crit, whereas a big weapon is likely to always do some damage. You can see here, this is the Berserker, which is like their version of a barbarian, and this is a normal class. It's only 3 spreads, and all the language is very lightweight, and it's easy to understand and pick up very quickly. But that's the neat thing. Nimble, like so many of these systems, are broadly 5e compatible. I mean, most RPG systems are broadly compatible with most other RPG systems. In the end, it's all just dice rolls and imagination. You're just rolling dice, and you can change what the numbers you're smushing together are. But with systems that have their roots in 5e, like Nimble, you've got a great opportunity to straight up use them with minimal adjustments. The hit points and damage math is similar enough that it should just shake out fine. I remember an episode of the Eldritch Lore cast where Sly Flourish referenced to one of his games as a 3x5 game. As in, there's 3 different versions of 5e at the table, 2014, 2024, and Level Up Advanced 5e, and it was no big deal. Why can't that party add a Nimble player? Or better yet, fight Nimble monsters? Gary Gygax said the secret we should never let game masters know is that they don't need any rules. That's the beauty of this game. You don't need any rules. You can do it all in your head, without die rolls, by the way, just reasoning things out as you go. According to D&D historian John Peterson, that's how the game was played in the 70s. Matt Colville summarized it as, every mechanic was basically the wish spell. Phrase it correctly, and it just works perfectly. But the DM might try to screw you. But there's another way to look at that quote. You, the DM, decide what rules you need. They are there to serve you. You own the game. Don't let your game own you. You can grab monsters from Nimble and just toss them into your game. You can mix and match systems to your heart's content. I want to show you Nimble's Ice Dragon, Iskarith, the Frostborn. And look, it's a tiny stat block. You can see it's got about 190 hit points, heavy armor, so that's AC 18. It's got an aura of ice that deals damage to people that move around nearby it. But it's also got this vulnerability to certain damage types, but it's got a little twist baked in. It gives her advantage on her next attack. So you deal ice damage to her, and then she gets stronger, but takes more damage. Which is a fun bit of design because it's got this give and take to it. She is a solo boss, so her actions trigger at the end of each hero's turn. She can either choose to fly 12, that's 60 feet in 5th edition terms, fly 12 meaning 12 squares, or she could choose one of the following actions. Wall of Ice, right? One use, reach 10, so anything within 10 squares, you summon a wall of ice 5 spaces in a line. Bite, move 4, and then do a bite. It's got some damage here, 2d6. In Nimble, when you roll 2 damage dice, you pick one as the main one, so if that one gets a 1, it's a miss, otherwise it's a hit. Does a bunch of damage, but on damage, Frostbite, meaning they've created a new reaction and stuck it right here into the stat block. Frostbite, can't use reaction. Healing or fire damage ends. So it's got a little game baked in. Shattering Claws, bunch of damage. Any die can be chosen as the primary die against a hampered target. So hampered is a condition in Nimble. Hampered is defined as any creature with their actions or movement reduced. So like dazed, grappled, prone, difficult terrain. Reactions are a kind of action. So a hampered target is anyone that has been affected by the bite. Any die can be chosen as the primary die. That means that out of the 3 dice you rolled, if one of them gets a 1, it doesn't matter. You just pick a different one as the primary die. And this way, you're likelier to crit, granted if it is a hampered target. Blizzard, AoE, bunch of damage. Restrains would also help trigger the Shattering Claws, but then it's got these 2 abilities at the bottom that make the encounter scarier as it goes on. When Iskarith is reduced to half her hit points, she becomes bloodied and gets access to Brutal Storm. Summons a Mighty Blizzard, others are blind beyond reach range 6 and take 1d6 damage at the end of their turns. So the longer we fight, the tougher the fight gets. Normally in 5th edition, there is this kind of resource management thing where the fight gets easier as it goes on, and then eventually we tip this point where we know we're going to win, bad guy knows they're going to lose, and we kind of get stuck in this slog, and there are ways to fix this, but Nimble does it baked in. This way, as soon as it's bloodied, we all take more damage. And when she's reduced to 0 hit points, she is dying, but you need to do 80 more damage to kill her, and the Brutal Storm intensifies, dealing 2d6 damage instead. If you want access to a larger monster manual, full of fun and unique monsters, like Iskarith, you could pick up Nimble's rules, or if you just want a bunch of cool monsters, there's a Kickstarter live now, and it's already funded, and it's all about adding a bunch of solo, big, like, final end boss scale monsters into the game. And again, it's easily usable with all your 5e content. You can pick up any 5e adventure and run it on the fly using Nimble. You could use 5e compatible monsters or the Nimble version of the monsters. They advertise the compatibility baked in, so you can do it at your table right now. Go check out their Kickstarter, it just went live, and go pick up your own copy. Nimble, Monsters and More. And if you think I'm being radical, I want you to know that this isn't new at all. The OSR people are all playing a mixture of things. They use AD&D dungeons in their games, or they mix and match those games like it's nothing. The OSR is an ecosystem of games. I don't see why 5e Adjacent can't be an ecosystem on its own. It's a big pool of play possibilities, so go ahead and dive right in. Whenever I make a video talking about some mechanic I love in another RPG, or a mechanic I don't like in 5e, or especially when I'm homebrewing one RPG's mechanic, grafting it onto 5e, I inevitably get endless variations of this comment.
Just play blank. It fixes all of this.
You, dear viewer, may be sitting there thinking, he's talking about the Pathfinder Zealots, isn't he? And sure, there certainly are Pathfinder Zealots, but this happens with every game people like. They all have their own zealots. Shadowdark, Daggerheart, Drawsteel, you name it. And I don't put any ill will on those comments. I assume they're made by fans who like a specific game and they're disappointed I'm not making videos about their favorite RPG instead of my favorite RPG. But really, this is just another form of edition warring. It's a newer, more complicated war. The system war. Often engaged in by folks who believe there's an objective best way to play and a best system to play. I think that's the biggest unexpected consequence of the OGL debacle. We are all playing many more games than we used to. which is awesome. We are all buying from small developers and creators, like Evan Diaz from Nimble, and that's fantastic. But a lot of us are now brand ambassadors for those systems, going around telling other people that their fun is wrong, or that our fun is the superior best fun. And that's not helping anybody with anything, and it's not convincing people to play more games either. When me and my friends disagree about what we like, we tend to just sort of go, oh, I don't like that part. And then, get this, we move on. Or sometimes we have a healthy discussion full of nuance. But this is the internet, so I understand that's going to be tough. What we don't do is proselytize. It's just not that serious. It's a make-believe game. Since the OGL debacle, I've spent less and less money on D&D, and my games budget now goes to buying and trying new games. This wasn't a decision I made or a conclusion I came to. My excitement just dwindled over time, and it moved on to excitement about checking out dope new games, seeing what they had to offer, and if I could use them to elevate the game I was already playing. This system war is deeply frustrating because of that phrase, just play blank. It comes with a bunch of negativity baked into the statement about the playstyle of the person you're talking to, like they're playing the wrong way. And I don't think there's a wrong way to play if everyone's having a great time, which me and my players are, and I'm mixing all kinds of stuff together at my table. When you do that, you create your own game with your group. As you play more and more, it slowly becomes its own new game, the one you play. I've referenced before this Wired video about The Game, where some dudes forked AD&D and they've slowly been making their own game for years. It's unrecognizable as second edition anymore because it became their own game. Because RPGs cannot be judged based on any objective fact, only taste. And besides, just play blank is a terrible way to convince someone. Blank fixes everything is setting blank up for failure. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me what it's good at and what it's bad at. Because whenever I read any RPG, any of them, there's about 5 or 6 core rules that I really don't like. And honestly, sometimes I kind of hate them. Doesn't matter what game, D&D, OSR, Call of Cthulhu, Draw Steel, you name it, and there's something fundamental about it that I just hate. But that's because I'm an opinionated know-it-all who won't ever be satisfied by something someone else made. I don't think any RPG could be 100% for me. Maybe you don't relate to that. Maybe you're watching and thinking, but blank really is perfect and I don't want to play anything slightly different than blank from now on until eternity. In which case, congratulations. I genuinely couldn't be happier for you. You have won RPGs in the most meaningful way. You're having a good time. That's great. But for me, I always end up mixing and matching stuff. And that's the big lesson of the OGL thing to me. We, the community, own the game. And I don't say the game to mean 5e or D&D, but the thing that we do at our table, the big game of imagination and dice. And that means we each own it. Not we each play games from people who own the game, but we, the players of RPGs, have the power in this relationship. We got them to stick that thing into Creative Commons. We own the game. We're going to build our own games, talk about them, discuss them, and sure, buy them, sell them, but also, at the table, mix and match them in heretical ways. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. You bought all these games you own. Now you have to start owning the games you own. Own them. Treat them like they're yours. Be a punk. Be a heretic. Reject the one true system way and start making something yourself by playing around with the tools other people made at the table. I've been buying games like crazy, picking up copies of this and that, flipping through and seeing what inspires me. And you could do the same. If you're used to 5e and you want to dip your toe into trying new stuff, you should honestly check out Nimble. See what you think, because you could just use bits of it in your next game. Chuck in a monster you like the idea of, try adding, 1 or 2 spells from Nimble, and see if you like it. And if you do, then you should go full into Nimble. But the great thing is, you can just try all kinds of stuff, especially if you're already playing 5th edition or something similar to 5th edition or a fork of it or whatever. You can just play around and experiment, because you're already a game master, which is just a hop, skip, and a step away from being a game designer. Because if you're like me, you may never like a thing right out of the box, because you didn't write it. So go write the thing you want to make. And that's where we'll pick it up next time. This channel is run by me and my girlfriend.
Sippie, sippie.
If you want to support us directly, consider joining our Patreon and our Discord, where folks are already mixing together the rules they like from different systems. If you're feeling especially generous, you might like the video, comment, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified when we release new videos. And until next time, keep studying the mystic arts.